What started out as a masterful display of Western soft power quickly degenerated into a political debacle, one that pitted a fast-rising American sensation against one of Africa's most ambitious new leaders. On one hand, J.D. Vance, American Vice President, best-selling author, and a rapidly ascending figure in nationalist conservative politics. On the other hand, Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso's 37-year-old president, a revolutionary leader representing a new generation of post-colonial African leaders, fearless, unabashed, and willing to call out the West's long-standing dominance. The showdown did not happen overnight. It started quietly, way back in February 2026, at a G20 pre-summit in Geneva. Vance was calm and assured as he gave a speech targeting Western allies. In it, he criticized what he referred to as the rise of anti-colonial populism sweeping across the developing world. Though never naming anyone, everyone got the message. This was an attack targeted at figures such as Traoré, representatives of the same anti-Vance ethos that he was cautioning against. In hours, the African and European press made the connection, and the fire was burning. Thence, tension snowballed. At the Munich Security Conference, Vance doubled down in his keynote speech. Headlines detonated. Al Jazeera proclaimed, "Vance denounces Traoré values versus revolutionary reality." Burkina Faso's press didn't hesitate to shoot back. The country's national daily Lasso landed a solid punch with an editorial. A man whose democracy almost came crashing down in his own capital has no business lecturing on moral high ground. But what about Traoré himself? He kept his cool. In a news conference a day later in Accra, Ghana, his response was sharp and incisive. Leadership isn't gauged by eloquence in echo chambers. It is gauged by how well your people do when the speeches are over. The American media sensed blood. CNN's Christiane Amanpour even suggested a televised debate. If Vice President Vance wishes to be the champion of democratic values, let him demonstrate it. Directly in open debate. And Vance, ever self-assured. He took up the gauntlet in 48 hours, saying to Fox News, "Let's teach the world what real governance looks like." Back in Ouagadougou, Traoré's advisors were anxious. They dreaded a Western media sting, but Traoré had a different idea. The world views us through a Western filter. Perhaps it is time we cleared the glass on our side. Let them undervalue me. That is always their initial error. With that, he accepted the task. A group of young technocrats soon rallied around him, burrowing into economic statistics, health records, foreign trade policy, and the history of Western interference in Africa. Traoré told them to concentrate on Western policy contradictions and the long-term effects of foreign interference. In Washington, the Vance camp was full of hubris. An aide boasted to Politico, "He is a graduate of Yale Law, a Marine vet, and a best-selling author. He is going to knock Traoré flat." And thus, the world was set for the ultimate showdown. On the 5th of June 2026, the debate, entitled Africa and America, a discussion on world power, aired at the same time on BBC World, CNN, and Al Jazeera. Over 120 million people in 90 countries watched. Vance opened with an attack on Traoré's validity. Your country is still highly militarized. Mr. President, how do you bridge that with the values of democracy, particularly considering that you came to power through a coup? Traoré did not blink. His reply was swift, precise, and assured. "Mr. Vice President, let's talk facts. We ousted a corrupt regime, and since we've had 3 free elections in 24 months, with a 89% average turnout. Compare that to your 55% or the mayhem of the 6th of January 2021. I ask you, who is actually wrestling with democracy?" The crowd murmured, the mood tilting in Traoré's direction. Vance pushed harder, assailing Burkina Faso's tiny economy and asking if such a country could ever possibly act as a counterbalance to Western leadership. Traoré merely smiled. When so-called small countries cut poverty in half by 34% in 3 years, provide universal health care without IMF addiction, and do it from the heart, size ain't the issue. Integrity is. The room exploded. And yet, The most heated exchange remained ahead. As the moderators shifted to international alliances, Vance began his most caustic attack yet, aiming at Traoré's ties to Russia and China.